The last box landed on the dusty floorboards with a thud that seemed too loud in the oppressive silence of the old Victorian house. Alex straightened up, wiping a sheen of sweat from his brow, his breath fogging in the cool, stale air. He'd come here for solitude, a quiet place to escape the noise of the city and the louder noise in his own head. But this quiet was different. It was a heavy, watchful silence that pressed in on him from all sides, as if the house itself was holding its breath. The late afternoon sun struggled to pierce the grime-caked windows, casting long, distorted shadows that danced like specters in the corners of the room. He told himself it was just an old house settling, but a knot of unease tightened in his stomach. He wasn't alone here. He felt it in the marrow of his bones. The quiet wasn't empty, it was waiting. That night's sleep offered no refuge. Alex was jolted awake by a sound, faint but persistent. A dry, scratching noise like brittle nails dragging along the inside of the walls. It scurried from one end of the bedroom to the other, then stopped, only to start again moments later, closer this time. He tried to dismiss it as rats, a common problem in a house this old, but the sound was too rhythmic, too deliberate. The following days blurred into a paranoid haze. He started catching glimpses of something out of the corner of his eye. A flicker of movement, a tall, impossibly thin shadow that vanished the moment he turned to face it. He saw it in the rippled reflection of an antique mirror and in the dark glass of the television screen after he turned it off. It was a stooped figure, long-limbed and draped in darkness, and its presence made the air grow cold. The house was no longer a sanctuary, it had become his cage, and he was being watched by the zookeeper. The storm hit on the third night, a biblical deluge that rattled the window frames and shook the house to its very foundations. Alex was huddled in the living room, a flickering candle his only companion against the encroaching darkness, when a deafening crack of thunder echoed overhead and the lights sputtered and died. The house plunged into an absolute, suffocating blackness. Then a brilliant flash of lightning illuminated the world outside, and for a terrifying, heart-stopping second, the figure was no longer a trick of the light. It was there, silhouetted against the large bay window, its form stark and horrifyingly real. It was taller than a man, with limbs bent at unnatural angles. As darkness swallowed the room once more, he heard the creak of floorboards from the hallway, slow and deliberate. Panic seized him, and he scrambled backward, knocking over a table. A frantic, desperate chase through the labyrinthine darkness of the house began. His own ragged breaths and the steady, unhurried footsteps behind him, the only sounds above the storm. He found refuge in a cramped linen closet, pulling the door shut until only a sliver of darkness remained. He pressed his back against the wall, clamping a hand over his mouth to stifle the terrified sobs threatening to burst from his chest. His heart hammered against his ribs like a drum, a frantic beat in the otherwise dead silence. The footsteps stopped right outside the door. Alex held his breath, praying, bargaining with any god that would listen. The silence stretched for an eternity, thick and suffocating. Then a low, drawn-out creak broke the stillness as the closet door began to inch open. Through the widening gap, in the pitch-black void of the hallway, two pale, luminous orbs ignited. They weren't eyes, they were points of cold, dead light, and they were staring right at him.